Hello guys, welcome back to God of Coding. Today we are going to make one-dimensional collision simulation. You can check this code by going to link in description. So here's what we are basically going to do. There are two circles which will be going to collide in one dimension. So either in x dimension or in y dimension. We are doing it in x dimension. So the both circles y value is either 0 or the both y values are equal. There is a little interface here. You can change the masses and velocities, initial velocities of the two circles. And if we click the start button, the animation will start according to the inputs we have given. Right now the both masses are equal. I am changing the mass one. So now the red ball is more massive than the blue ball. You can see the result. I have created an external JavaScript file which have iterative functions which I am going to use in this tutorial, basically in every tutorial. So I am very lazy to write them again and again. Here's our script tag which has the external file. It's basically have a game loop and some other simple functions which are repeated. Let's create our canvas. Guac.create canvas of width 500 and height 600. If I save this, you can see a canvas with the border. So here's our canvas. Let's create our update function and draw function which are part of our game loop. Update function takes two arguments, e and e comma c, and draw function takes the same arguments which are c comma e. They are altered. E means elapsed, delta or dt, whatever, and c means context. Let's create our first circle which has x value, y value, and velocity, mass, and what more, radius. Okay, x value 50, y value 200, mass 1, velocity is 2, and radius. Let's give radius 40. Let's create another circle which is on the right side. So circle 2 also have x value. Let's give 450 and a y value, and mass, velocity, radius. This velocity going to be minus since it's moving from right to left. Let's give the same radius for now. You can change it. Let's create a draw function to draw this on the screen, which takes object and context, c.beginPath and c.arc, x value, y value, radius, start angle, end angle. Here object.x, object.y, object.radius, 0, 2 into math.py, and c.stroke to see it on the screen. If I come to draw function and say draw circle 1 and give context, and similarly draw circle 2 with context, save this. You can see two circles on the screen. If I want to move the circles, I can simply come to update function and increment the x value of both circles. Circle 1.x plus equal to circle 1.velocity, circle 2.x plus is equal to circle 2.velocity. If I save this, you will see two circles moving each other. Let's make a velocity one so we can see they are moving a little bit slower. Let's create a function which checks the collision. It returns true if they are not colliding, and if they are colliding, it returns false. Let's store the radiuses of two circles in variable radius. So let radius equal to a.radius plus b.radius, where a and b are arguments given to this function which are our circles. Basically square roots are very expensive functions. I mean, they took a lot of time to give the answer, so we squared the equation from both sides so it become a little easier and little faster. You can see the equation on the screen. which is root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. I uploaded a separate PDF for circle versus circle collision. The link will be in description. So basically the equations function both can give our collision. If check collision circle 1 comma circle 2 is true, that means they are not colliding, just leave it blank. Else they are colliding, we're going to make something, we're going to change their velocities. For now, let's say c dot fill text collided, give x comma y values. Okay, error, yeah, give xy values 20 comma 20. Refresh the page. You can see when they are collided, there is a text which shows collided. Let's give it a font 20 pixels. C dot font equal to 20 pixel. So here's all we want to make the simulation. The only thing we left is giving the velocities when they are collided. So let's create a function final velocities which return the final velocity object. So function final velocities. Let's store the radiuses. Yeah, we already have radiuses, and say const final velocity which will be going to return by the end. So const final v is equal to an object which has v1 and v2 values, and the v1 and v2 values are going to be formula, which is one-dimensional collision formula right on the screen, and in the end return final v. So here's the formula, which says v1 equal to m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 into u1 plus, yeah, I am very lazy to read that, you can see it on the screen. So m1 is circle 1 dot mass, m2 is circle 2 dot mass, and u1 is circle 1 dot velocity, u2 is circle 2 dot velocity. We pass two objects to this final velocities function, which are going to be our circles. So just write down the formula as it is. m1 is a dot mass and m2 is b dot mass, divided by m1 again a dot mass plus b dot mass into u1, which is a dot velocity, and 2m2 by m1 plus m2 into u2. So just write down the equation. So giving formulas is over. Let's use those formulas. Let v1 is equal to final velocities which takes circle 1 and circle 2. The v1 stores the x value, I mean final velocity of the x value of circle 1, and let v2, this v2 stores the final velocity of circle 2. Let's first check if these equations are working or not, or we make any errors. Come to the draw function or update function. Let's draw the v1 and v2 on the screen so we can see if there is any errors. C dot fill text v1, which is v1, and v2, which is v2 variable, plus v2, x value and y value. If I save this, you can see they shows 0 comma 0, which is probably an error. I mean, when they collided, the velocity should not be 0, they should be in opposite of same velocities, -1 and +1. Let's see where is the error. It's going to take a long time, I guess, because I write the formula as it is. Let me just skip this part and jump to where I fixed the code. By the end, I am not able to find the error, so I go to check the code that I have already written. you can see the brackets around a dot mass minus b dot mass. So I just missed one bracket, basically one bracket for one variable. Just put the brackets around these variables b dot mass minus a dot mass. So let's just save this and run this. So here's it's working fine. v1 is -1 and v2 is 1. The signs are changed. So yeah, it's working. Let's give the velocities to the circle. So circle 1 dot velocity equal to v1 and circle 2 dot velocity is equal to v2. This should probably work. Save this. Wait a second, another error. Let me check. Oh, I don't know, it start working again. You can see they are bouncing off. So let's check this again. Yeah, they're working, they're just bouncing off. What we left is adding interface to change the masses and velocities of the circle. So let's do that. Actually, before going to give velocities, let's try if this is working for different masses. I gave circle 2 with 5 mass and velocity 2. Yes, working fine. Now good to go. I'm not really good at making interfaces, so right now I will make 2 blanks, 2 input blanks, a button to start the animation. You can use your CSS skills and style it, and you can add 4 buttons similarly in this way, and you can add even more buttons for changing radius and for changing something else, something colors or something like that. So I'm creating m1 input tag where id is m1 and type is number, and m2 input tag where type is number and id is m2, and button to start our animation. So button of id start L or start loop or whatever. Let's say start. Let's refer those input fields and button in JavaScript where m1 equal to document.get element by id m1. Similarly, m2 equal to document.get element by id m2, and the last thing button where btn or start L or any variable name is equal to document.get element by id. You can say start loop. The id is start loop. Now we have the reference of those things. If the button is clicked, that means start L dot on click is a function. We simply say gog.start and remove the gog.start, which is we place in the end. Just remove it here, and okay, give it a break so the canvas will be below our interface. You can see when I click the start, the animation is started. So let's give the input values to our circle objects. We can simply say circle1 dot mass is equal to m1 dot value, and number of is for safety reasons. You can remove it. Number of m1 dot value. If the user leave it blank, we're gonna fill it with 1. And circle2 dot mass is number of m2 dot value, and same if it leaves blank, it just says 1. Yes, as expected, it's not working. Let's see if there is any errors or any bugs we produce. Let's give 5. No use, it's not working. Let's check for console for errors. Seems like there is no errors. Let's see the values. Okay, circle1 dot mass is 1, and so yeah, the both values are 1. Here we go, guys. We set our v1 and v2, which are our final velocities. Even before we click the start button, they're actually producing the result for 5 and 1, which are available for them in circle objects. So let's calculate them when we press the button, not before we press the button. So make them global variables where v1 comma v2 and calculate them once we press the button. Just put the same code inside our on click event. Yeah, that's it. It should work now. Okay, just remove the let keywords. If we save this and start, here we go. The inputs are empty and the values are 1 comma 1. Let's give the inputs 3 3. So both masses, no change. And we forgot, when we press the start button second time, the animation will not going to run, because we have to set the circle values back to their original values, which is circle 1.x is 50 and circle 2.x is 450. We should also set the velocity back to their normal velocities, which are circuit 1 dot velocity is 2 and circuit 2 dot velocity is -2. Remember, how many times we press the start button, that many times the clock dot start, which is request animation frame, will run. Every time the request animation will run, the speed increase. So it's not how it works. Let's create a variable count equal to 0. Every time you click the button, the count will increment, and if the count is greater than 1, which is the second time, make gog.stop. So once you press the second time, the previous animation should stop and the new animation should start. Okay, save and run this. This is the second time. We pause 3 comma 3. We get the start. Okay, let's change our mass of the first object. Here we go, it's working perfectly. Yes, this is not the output that I have shown you at the start of this video. So let me show you some things which make this code looking like that. And pass the color argument in draw function, and c.fillStyle is equal to that color that we have passed, and c.fill. Come to our draw function and just give whatever color you want. I giving the first ball of blue color and the second ball with red color, and c.fillRect. I am just making a big rectangle of black color entire canvas, so it's look background, something like that. So 0 comma 0, which is starting point, and c.canvas.width comma c.canvas.height. And let's make it a black color. c.fillStyle is equal to black. Thank you for watching, guys. See you in the next video.